Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Trailholds Radio Show. Thank you for joining us today. Today, my special guest is actor Mr. Josh Murray. Thank you, and join us in a minute. Okay, my first question to you is, how did your career as an actor begin? How did you get started in the industry?
Well, my start in the industry was technically in the audition room. I was at a place in my life where I was, for a number of reasons, was looking for something new, a new outlet, and I had this draw or curiosity to pursue or to explore, to check out acting, and I found out about a short film that was being shot in my area right at the outset of that journey, and went to the audition, which was terrifying. And I remember just my hands were like turning numb and shaking, and I felt like my whole body was going to go out of control, and it took everything I had just to go in the room and get through the audition. But I ended up being offered a small speaking role in the film, and when I did it, I had so much great feedback about it. Everyone thought, couldn't believe it was my first time acting, and even though it was challenging, I knew that I had this fascination, and I wanted to overcome the challenge because I knew that there was so much for me to grow in that area. And so from then on, I just started pursuing it and exploring it and learning and training more and more.
Absolutely, and you're still learning. You never stop learning.
You never do. Yeah.
Always room to learn.
Yeah. Well, that's really part of the attraction of acting, is that you're always exploring something new, a new life, a new world, a new character, a new story. And yeah, it's a constant progression of learning whole new areas as an actor, as well as always continuing to learn and understand the process of being a human being that is the acting art.
Absolutely. Listen to learn and learn to listen, and acting is reacting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and acting itself, when you come to like listening and reacting, every scene, every take, every show that you do is an opportunity to learn. And really, that's also part of the craft of acting, is having that student of life and student of living mentality, where even though the script is written and you may have rehearsed, the blocking in the scene, you have to come into it like looking to see, even if you've done 10 takes of the scene already, to come into it with that childlike wonder of like, I don't know what's going to happen in the scene, and what am I going to learn? Your listening is the humility of not knowing what's going to happen, and trying to seek to learn something new and to be open to an experience that you have never had before every moment.
Definitely, absolutely. And it's a new adventure each project, it's always something to look forward to each project you're doing.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. My next question is, what do you find is the most challenging? I know you said when you first started acting, going to the auditions was challenging. You were nervous. Do you find that you still have that problem, like don't take rejection personally? Or have you learned it's just don't take it personally, rejection if you don't get the role in the audition?
Yeah, I don't really think about rejection in terms of auditions anymore these days. To speak of, my advice to people who are starting out, if they're worried about rejection, or they're stressing about hearing whether they're going to hear back, is just get busy doing what you can do. Get busy, being focused on something that is in your control. And if that's just finding more auditions, then do that, and be too busy to wait for anything. In terms of what's challenging for me now, I would say, the perhaps one of the hardest things is the lack of control in terms of acting and audition process. You can master and do everything that is in your control as well as you possibly can, and you may not, get success, so to speak, in terms of the result that you want regardless of how hard you try or how well you accomplish that. So one of the things that I've been doing in recent years is producing as well as acting, so that I have projects that I can create myself and have more control over the process. Because if your acting is solely based on auditions, if your career is solely based on auditions, that's a huge factor that's mostly out of your control. Most of the decision-making process is out of your control, regardless of how well you are doing as an actor in performance.
Yeah, absolutely. When you go into auditions, most casting directors already have that mindset of who they want for the role, and it's quite hard for actors to change their mind unless you're a really good actor when you go for
and I mean, and of course, some of it is in your control, Trey. If you are bringing your humanity and truth in a really profound way, you can override their expectations and their preconceived notions. However, even if you do that, there's no guarantee. It's really out of your control ultimately, because they may really like you more than anyone else, but for various other factors, they may be unable to use you, because there's so many factors to consider when you're building an ensemble cast.
Yeah. Definitely. My next question is, do you have any projects or any upcoming projects you're working on? I know with the pandemic, everything has kind of slowed down, but do you have anything upcoming, acting or producing, anything?
Yeah, well, I have a couple of acting roles upcoming that I'm attached to in films, but I can't really talk about details about those yet. What I can talk about is, as I mentioned, the producing side. I am in the middle of producing a feature film called Gym Rat, and also playing the title character in that. And that is a thriller, dark comedy about a fitness freak who's just been released from prison and has these grand delusions of being the next Mr. Olympia. And there's going to be a teaser for this film releasing soon. And we're going to be doing some final finishing funds, and people will have opportunity to participate in that if they're interested. I'll be sharing that more on my social media in the coming days.
Absolutely. I look forward to looking at that. It sounds very interesting.
Well, it's one of the things that I'm most proud of, and we've already come a long ways in the process. Already filmed most of the film, and I'm so excited for people to get a sneak preview of it and ultimately see the finished film probably next year.
Absolutely. And that's great you do producing also, and besides you're an actor, but that's great because many people in the industry, they just, after a short time being an actor or whatever the career they in, they always go to the different sub-careers in the industry because the industry is such a multifaceted business, acting, writing, producing, directing, and you try to learn as much as you can from all of that,
Yeah, and I don't recommend that everyone becomes a movie producer. It's really not for every actor, and for some actors, it may be a waste of time. If you're not going to do it seriously, it may not be valuable use of your time to an extent. However, I recommend that every performer becomes a producer in one way or another, and whether that is producing a little community theater show in your hometown, or a short film, or producing a monologue, showcase, or a radio show or a YouTube channel like what you're doing. Find ways to create with your own steam, and don't wait for someone to give you an opportunity to create. So do something creative and something that you can have control over, and produce it, make it happen.
Definitely. I know with me, I started when I was 13. I'm 20 now, but I'm still young, but I started young at 13. And as a radio, did radio, and I theater actor too. That's my main background, theater acting, and then the radio show, which I do. And over the years, I've come more involved with animation and voiceover work and narration and writing scripts and all that, and it's fun. It's a very interesting career to be in. It's not for everyone, I find, but if you have the passion for it, you're definitely going to make it. It all depends on you, definitely.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you have off to a great start already. I hadn't even done my first acting role when I was your age, so you'll probably be way ahead of me by the time you're my age.
People are always surprised when I say I started when I was 13, and I have high-functioning autism, a special needs disability, but I don't let that stop me, and I find it's kind of helped me improve more. You learn from it, you know.
Yeah. I have a friend who has the same challenges and is also an actor. So I've heard a lot about his journey with that.
Absolutely. My next question is, what is your advice to people who want to get into the industry, to be an actor or to just get in the industry as a whole?
Well, there's, I guess, three things I would say, Trey. Is one, know why you're doing it. You have an idea and get clarity of your reason of getting into the industry and what you want to do. It might change over time, but consider your reasons and think about that, and be, in a sense, like realistic or pragmatic about what you're willing to do to achieve them. Some people have very big, grand visions of what they think they want to achieve as an actor in the industry for success, and they have a timetable of when they think they need to be at a certain place to know that it's happening. And a lot of people do that, and they end up fizzling out very quickly. And I would say, if that's your mentality, then maybe consider not spending your time doing it, because there are way too many people like that who are going to it for the wrong reasons. But if your passion is for the art and the experience and the creativity of acting, and that's what really gives you life, and that's what motivates you, and to share that with other people, then consider like ways that you can start doing that now, and consider how you can do that in some capacity, to some extent in your life, no matter what happens. I really love what Don Cheadle said on Inside the Actor Studio, which was that, if you want to be a celebrity, like don't be an actor. But if you really love being an actor, you'll enjoy even doing community theater. If you can enjoy and appreciate the experience of doing community theater, then you're an actor. And even if you never do anything more than that, it will be valuable and worthwhile. So if you're clear on why, the reasons why you're doing it, and you find ways to do that, to exercise and to engage at that level of what your passion is, and if you can find it fulfilling, and be grateful for those experiences along the way. The second thing I would say is train and learn and really develop yourself as a human being, as an artist, as an actor. Don't go looking for an agent when you start becoming an actor. Your first and foremost priority is to develop yourself into having a skill, and 99.9% of the people do not, unless you're a child prodigy, most likely, which are very rare, most likely you're not ready to be an actor if you're just starting out. So develop yourself as a person, expand yourself, your instrument physically, emotionally, like learn and study great actors and great films, and go to plays and things. Really develop yourself. And first and foremost, you should be training initially and focusing on that, not trying to get a break. Because when you do get a break, if you haven't created something of substance and something that is worth sharing, at best you'll be a fizzle. It's a short fizzle in the pan, and most likely you'll never get anywhere. And then the third and last thing I would say for people looking to get in the industry is, once you have started to really develop yourself and you have come to a place where you have things to share, is to continue training and to continue developing and growing as an artist with your instrument, and also continue to regularly work on your business and not say, well, I've become an actor, I know how to act, so I should be working. Because creating a business